My friends, at the heart of this entire teaching lies a single word, a word that contains every technique, every practice, and every promise this understanding has ever revealed. Yet most people use it casually, never fully realizing the depth and power of what it truly means. The word is assume. We use it casually. I assume it'll rain. I assume he meant well. I assume the meeting's still on. In everyday speech, assuming something means making a guess, forming a tentative supposition, a best estimate held loosely, ready to be revised the second new information shows up. And this casual usage has quietly poisoned how most people approach the single most powerful instruction in this whole teaching. Because when they're told to assume their desire fulfilled, they bring all that tentativeness along with them. They make a guess, they form a hopeful supposition, they hold a loose, provisional, ready to revise estimate that maybe, possibly, hopefully, the thing they want might show up someday. And then they wonder why nothing happens. It doesn't happen because a guess isn't an assumption, not in the sense this teaching means. When this teaching says assume, it doesn't mean suppose. It doesn't mean hope. It doesn't mean try to believe. It means something far more total, far more committed, far more absolute. It means taking something as a fact, accepting it as established, treating it as settled, finished, beyond question, as real and solid and unremarkable as any other fact in your life. Tonight, I want to teach you what it actually means to assume something as a fact. Because once you understand this, really understand it, you hold the key to everything. Let me start by showing you what a fact actually feels like inside your own mind. Because you're surrounded by facts you never even think about, and the way you hold them is precisely what you need to learn to replicate. Think about something you know to be true about yourself. Your name, the city you live in, the fact that you have two hands. Notice how you hold these facts. You don't hope they're true. You don't affirm them repeatedly each morning to convince yourself. You don't anxiously check the outer world for evidence they're still true. You don't feel a flicker of doubt when someone questions them. You simply know them, quietly, completely, without effort, without emotion, without the slightest need for confirmation. That's what a fact feels like from the inside. It isn't exciting. It isn't charged with hope or desire. It's calm, settled, unremarkable. It sits in your mind not as something you're reaching for, but as something that simply is, so obviously, so completely, that it requires no maintenance whatsoever. This is the exact quality you need to bring to your desire. Not the trembling hope of someone who wants something badly and isn't sure they'll get it. Not the effortful affirmation of someone trying to talk themselves into believing something they don't quite believe. But the calm, settled, unremarkable knowing of someone for whom the thing is simply a fact, as obvious and unquestioned as their own name. Once your desire occupies the same place in your mind as the fact of your own name, held with the same quiet certainty, the same absence of doubt, the same complete lack of need for confirmation, you've assumed it as a fact, and an assumption held as a fact has to externalize. It has no other option. That's the law. Now, let me address the obvious objection, the one probably rising up in your mind right now. But my name is actually true. The thing I want isn't true yet. How can I treat something as a fact when it plainly isn't one? Isn't that just lying to myself? This is the exact question that stops most people cold. And the answer to it is the heart of the entire teaching. So follow this closely. Your desire isn't yet a fact in the outer world. That's true. But the outer world isn't where facts get made. It's where they get displayed. The outer world is the screen, not the source. And by the time something appears on the screen, it's already been established at the source. Everything that's ever appeared in your physical world existed first as an inner reality. The chair you're sitting in was a fact inside someone's mind before it was a fact in the room. The building you live in was complete inside the architect's consciousness, before a single stone was ever laid. The outer fact is always, without a single exception, the late arrival, the eventual physical echo of something already established within. So when you assume your desire as a fact, you're not lying. You're not pretending something false is true. You're establishing the inner reality that the outer reality must eventually follow. You're creating the fact at the source, knowing the screen will display it in due time. Someone who waits for the outer world to make something a fact before they'll accept it as one has the entire mechanism backwards. They're standing in front of the screen, waiting for an image to appear, refusing to walk over to the projector. And they'll wait forever, because the image will never show up on the screen until it's first been loaded into the projector. You are the projector. Your assumption is the film. Load the fact in. Hold it as settled, established, beyond question, and the screen of your world must, eventually and inevitably, display it. That isn't self-deception. That's the most accurate possible understanding of how reality actually gets made. I want to talk about the difference between assuming a fact and wanting an outcome, because this exact distinction is where most people's practice quietly collapses. When you want an outcome, your attention sits on the future, on the arrival, on the moment the thing will finally show up. There's a forward lean to it, a reaching, an orientation towards something not here yet, but hoped for. When you assume a fact, your attention sits in the present. The thing isn't coming, it's here. It isn't going to be true, it is true. There's no forward lean, because there's nowhere left to lean toward. You're already standing inside the reality, not looking ahead at it from outside. This is a complete reorientation of your inner posture, and it changes everything. Someone wanting an outcome lives in a state of perpetual anticipation, which, examined honestly, is really a state of perpetual not yet. And the law, reading that state of not yet, faithfully produces more not yet. The anticipation never resolves into arrival, because the anticipation itself is the broadcast, and the broadcast keeps generating more of the same. Someone assuming a fact has stopped anticipating altogether. They're not waiting for the thing, because as far as they're concerned, the thing is already established. They've moved their inner clock past the moment of arrival and taken up residence in the reality where the desire is simply, factually, unremarkably real. And the law reads that state, the state of already having, and faithfully produces its outer equivalent. Stop wanting the outcome. Start assuming the fact. In words, the difference sounds subtle, but it's the entire gap between a practice that strains for years without result and a practice that quietly, naturally, inevitably produces exactly what it assumes. Let me show you how a fact actually behaves once it's genuinely assumed, because this is where the real power reveals itself. When something is a fact in your mind, you don't defend it, you don't argue for it, you don't need to. If someone told you that you don't live where you live, you wouldn't feel a surge of anxiety and launch into a desperate defense. You'd feel, at most, mild amusement. Their disagreement wouldn't touch your certainty in the slightest, because your certainty was never dependent on their agreement in the first place. The fact is simply true, regardless of what anyone says, regardless of whatever evidence gets waved in front of it. This is exactly how you have to hold your assumed desire when the outer world argues against it. And it will argue. The circumstances will present their evidence. The bank balance will say one thing while you're assuming another. The empty space where the relationship should be will insist on its own emptiness. The body will report its symptoms while you assume your health. And in those moments, the temptation is to defend, to argue with the circumstances, to push back against the evidence, to line up your affirmations like soldiers against the invading doubt. But a fact doesn't argue. A fact doesn't need to. The correct response to the outer world's disagreement isn't a desperate defense. It's the calm, almost amused non-engagement of someone whose certainty was never up for debate. Yes, the circumstances say that. How interesting. It doesn't change what's true. And then you simply return, without drama, without struggle, to the quiet, settled fact you've already assumed. The circumstances aren't arguing with the truth. They're simply the old screen, still displaying the old image, not yet updated to show the new fact you've established within. They aren't evidence against your assumption. They're merely the not yet refreshed display. Hold your fact the way you hold your own name. Let the outer world say whatever it wants, and watch how the unwavering, undefended, completely settled assumption eventually forces the screen to update. I want to give you the practical heart of this, how you actually move an idea out of the realm of hope and into the realm of fact. It happens through a very specific kind of repetition, but not the kind most people practice. Most people repeat affirmations the way you'd repeat a phrase you're trying to memorize but don't yet believe. I am wealthy, said over and over, with effort, with a kind of forced insistence, while underneath the words, the old feeling of lack keeps running undisturbed. This kind of repetition doesn't establish a fact, it establishes a battle, conscious words fighting against subconscious feeling, and the subconscious feeling always wins. The repetition that actually establishes a fact is different. It isn't the repetition of words, it's the repetition of a feeling state, the repeated, gentle, unforced return to the felt reality of the thing already being true. You don't hammer the idea in, you soak in it. You return to the quiet feeling of it being so, again and again, lightly, naturally, until the feeling stops being something you have to generate and starts being something that's simply there, until the inner sense of having stops requiring effort and becomes your resting state, until it would take effort to feel its absence rather than its presence. That's the tipping point. That's the exact moment the assumption crosses over from hope into fact, when the natural, default, resting condition of your mind is the quiet assumption of the thing as already so, and feeling otherwise would require actual effort. At that point, it's become a fact within you. And whatever's a fact within must become a fact without. Don't strain to believe. Soak gently in the feeling until belief is no longer even necessary, because the thing is simply, quietly, factually so. There's a moment I want to prepare you for, because everyone who genuinely practices this will run into it eventually. It's the moment the assumption turns natural, and you'll barely even notice it happening. People expect the establishment of a fact to feel like a dramatic breakthrough, a surge of certainty, a blazing moment of conviction where doubt gets vanquished and faith becomes total. But that isn't how facts actually settle in. Facts settle in quietly. They arrive not with fanfare, but with a kind of unremarkable ordinariness. One day, you simply notice you've stopped wondering whether it will happen. You've stopped checking. Stop defending the assumption against doubt, because the doubt has quietly stopped showing up in the first place. The thing has become so settled, so taken for granted, so much a part of the furniture of your mind, that you no longer even think of it as a desire at all. It's just a fact about your life that happens not to have appeared yet. And here's the remarkable part. That unremarkable, quiet, almost boring settledness, that's the state of real power. That's the state manifestation becomes inevitable from. Not the dramatic conviction, the calm, settled, taken for granted fact. When you notice you've stopped caring whether it comes, not because you've given up, but because its arrival is no longer in question at all, you'll know the fact has been fully established. And you'll know the outer world is now simply doing the necessary work of catching up. Let me bring this home tonight. The instruction sitting at the center of this teaching is not hope for it. It is not want it badly enough. It is not try very hard to believe. It's assume it as a fact. Take the thing you want and place it in your mind, not as a wish, not as a goal, not as a hopeful possibility hanging out there in some uncertain future, but as a fact, as something already established, as real and settled and unremarkable as your own name, your own hands, the city you live in. Hold it the way you hold a fact, without defending it, without checking it, without the trembling anxiety of someone hoping, and without the forced effort of someone trying to convince themselves. Just the quiet, calm, complete acceptance of something that simply is so. Let the outer world disagree. It's only the old screen, not yet refreshed. Let the circumstances argue. A fact doesn't argue back. Return, again and again, without strain, to the settled feeling of the thing already being true, until that feeling becomes your resting state, your default, the natural condition of your mind, and then live from that fact. Move through your days as someone for whom it's already so. Make your decisions from it. Speak to yourself from it. Let it become the quiet, unremarkable, taken for granted ground underneath everything you do. Because the moment your desire becomes a fact within you, held as completely and as calmly as any other fact you know, the outer world has no other option. It must update. It must refresh. It must, in its own time and through its own surprising means, display on the screen of your life the fact you've already established at the source. Don't hope for it. Don't wish for it. Don't want it. Assume it as a fact, and watch the world become exactly what you've already, quietly and completely, decided is true. Thank you for being here tonight. If this gave you something to hold on to, something solid, something settled, carry it with you. Share it with someone who's still hoping when they could be knowing instead. Because somewhere, right now, someone is exhausting themselves, wishing for what they could simply assume. This is Neville Lectures, and I'll see you in the next one.